we're inside the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, which offers an unprecedented view of how America got to this point. The museum's own path is also vivid. Time-lapse video captures the construction of our newest national treasure. The groundbreaking took place more than 4.5 years ago. The final piece of steel was installed in 2014.
They did such a beautiful job. We should note there are more than 3,500 panels that make up the bronze-colored and glass facade. It is called the Corona. Jan Crawford shows us how bringing all this together took 100 years.
It gives me goosebumps to see it happening.
It's been a long road, and the story of this museum, like the African American experience, is one of trial and triumph.
To see it finally happen after all this time is just really overwhelming.
It was a century in the making, a dream for generations. It became reality through tireless work by people like Judge Robert Wilkins, who helped build coalitions so the full story could be told and shared for generations to come. The effort goes back to 1915, when Black Civil War veterans, their contributions to winning their freedom ignored, pushed for a memorial to honor their service. Funding never came.
This has been one of the great days of America.
Decades later, the civil rights movement swept the country, reigniting the effort to recognize African American history. But the roadblocks seemed almost insurmountable. Civil rights icon Congressman John Lewis introduced 13 different bills to create a museum. Opposition came from multiple fronts.
Once we approve this museum, we will be called upon by other minority groups, and they will be justified in doing so, to provide museums for their particular groups.
So many said, why do we need a special place to tell those stories?
Janetta Cole serves on the museum's scholarly advisory committee.
When there isn't an acknowledgement of a people's history and their culture, there's no acknowledgement of those people.
Another obstacle, federal land use groups argued against another building on the National Mall, which they considered overcrowded, and pushed for a different site on the edge of the city.
It would be appropriate to place a monumental building on this site.
Judge Wilkins was part of the committee that urged Congress and then President George W. Bush to build the museum on the National Mall.
I think that symbolically it's very important because the history of African Americans had been, you were in the back. You had to enter a white person's home from the back door.
Wilkins was there when the president signed the museum bill into law in 2003. Museum director Lonnie Bunch then began the difficult task of raising $270 million in private donations and collecting the thousands of artifacts needed to fill such a large space. In 2012, crews finally broke ground.
It's amazing that we've gotten here. It's a miracle that we've gotten here.
A miracle.
It is, and I don't think that that's overstating it. It is a miracle.
For CBS This Morning, Jan Crawford, Washington.